Hey there, guys, and welcome to another Factorio Friday Facts discussion number 356, Blueprint Library for Real. And I am joined by Bombug as always.
Hello, hello. How you doing today, X?
Doing okay. I think both enjoying the weekend for sure.
Yeah, I wish we could get more than just two of them per
I,
week.
I know, right? We need those like 3-day work weeks.
Oh, that would be great. Do like 4 10s or like maybe like 4 5s. Just
Mm-hmm.
4 hours a day, 5 days a week, or 5 hours a day, 4 days a week. Let's just not work so much, man.
I mean, I think that's reasonable, honestly.
It's a lot of time to spend working in your life, and then wait
Mm-hmm.
until you're 65 to retire. Oof.
Yeah, if you're
Oh
lucky.
man. Yeah. Wow, this is a deep topic, man. How about let's go to another deep topic by Kovarex here. A
Yeah.
lot of deep topics today.
So speaking of, work and some troubles with that, the Blueprint Library is covered a little later in the Friday Facts, but this does lead into it. And this is a fairly long story, but I think it's really cool. It's not really a thing that can be summarized without skipping important stuff. Um, Hopefully, you guys find this interesting. I mean, Kovarex is the creator of the company. He's the lead of the company and stuff. So I think this is really important to cover, and I'll try to go through it as quickly and decently as I can. So basically, this whole thing is about his struggle with Factorio and life. Um, so basically, since 2 years ago, he started to have these problems. It was harder and harder to force myself to work on the game, and I didn't enjoy it that much. So I was looking for a way to have a break. I know exactly when I disappeared from the Factorio development. It was August 26, 2019, the release date of WoW Classic, which I do remember him mentioning. Definitely getting pretty into that when that did come out. The planned 3 weeks of playing kind of extended to be more like 3 months. One of the big reasons was that I already had 60 level priests when I realized that the tanks are so hard to come by. So I re-rolled a tank, learned how to play it, and leveled it to 60. It was a great fun. To finish all the dungeon content required the Prebis pre-raid best in slot. This is all just to find out tanks are far from a hot commodity when it comes to raiding. What you need is few in the 40 people raid. Basically, at this point, he thought he would come back with full power, but he just couldn't. When I tried to work, I had this strong, almost physical feeling of disgust. It was impossible to overcome. It was clear to me at this point this was or is a typical burnout situation. Is far from surprising after that many years of working that hard, for sure. Um, the attempts to get to work were mainly motivated by guilt, and I knew well that it is hardly a good motivation for anything. Trying to overcome it by sheer willpower would just make it worse, so I just stayed distant. The team was still working on its own and making good progress, so I was taking advantage of it and continued to have a break and spend more time with my family and on leisure activities. As the situation was not getting that much better, there were even more proposals selling the company and getting rid of the responsibility for good. For most people, this would sound like a rational choice, but I was far from open to doing that. I generally don't like to do something just because it is the norm. So the norm is to try to always keep growing exponentially, getting investors expanding, getting more people, never stopping, never resting until you are the biggest and most horrible company or you die trying. Which, sadly, this is quite true in a lot of cases.
Yo, you see it everywhere.
Yeah. So this approach dictates that once you can't expand the enterprise, you need to sell it to others that can grow it. And I don't like that. I didn't forget at all why we started working on this game. We wanted to make the game is that we couldn't find, and we wanted to have fun doing so. We wanted the game to be primarily fun for us, not for a focus group that has the most financial potential. Which, again, this is just another testament as to why they're so great. They didn't do this for the money. Um, so, even if we face a hypothetical decision, either we sell it to a big publisher or we shut down the studio. I chose the latter because you can't put a price tag on the fact that we still own the game. In the latter case, we could come back to it any time when we feel like the game is right instead of having to watch it being milked as a microtransaction filled cash grab by some company, which is also sadly very true. Um, so, this was my lowest point personally. I was generally not feeling well and I was lost and searching for purpose. One of the biggest reasons that I didn't feel well was that I started to become more and more lazy. When you don't have to overcome daily obstacles and annoyances, you become more and more lazy until even the most basic things start to be a huge pain in the ass, and you don't generally feel, well, this is where I was. And that's a really rough place to be. So, in the meantime, I was occasionally playing some simple games with my 4.5-year-old son, Earn to Die and Into Space 2. I was trying to find some nice, cool games that we could play together, but I didn't find anything. Feel free to give me suggestions in the comments. So I figured that we could actually try to play Factorio. And this is where the story really kind of turns around, and I actually love this so much. So I started a peaceful game for him. He started a peaceful game and showed him how to move around, mine, and craft basic stuff, and let him play. He was just running around and having a blast that he can mine trees and explore. Some other day, I joined the game and built some small factories so basic technologies are unlocked, and he could play around with that. Eventually, he set himself a project to create a wall around the entire factory. He was focused and he kept at it, and 3 days later, he came at me and showed it to me, and he was so proud. Sometime later, he played alone for a while, and then he showed me some very basic mining smelting setups. It was very weird, but it worked. This is when I realized how great Factorio is for children. You can scale the skill set from very, very basic up to almost infinity. He can't read, he didn't know numbers greater than 4, and yet he managed to play. And in a few days, he kind of recognized numbers up to 10 without even realizing it. When I showed him how construction robots and personal requests work, he was super enthusiastic and talked about construction robots to everyone he met, which is awesome. They are really cool, especially to a kid. I bet they're just like mind-blowing.
They're mind-blowing to me still.
Yeah, right? So once he asked me, Father, what is this thing in the list of things I can order? And Kovarex responded, this is an atomic bomb. And he said, oh, I want to order it. And Kovarex responded, no, we don't even have it researched. And then his son, but why is it in the list then? It doesn't make sense. Kovarex says, you are right. It doesn't. I might actually fix that. So I opened Factorio source code after a long time and made the change that the filter and logistic request selections didn't contain things yet to be researched unless you force unlock in the settings. I made a change to Factorio and it felt good, and I started to want more, and this is how I got from the lowest point. I wasn't yet prepared for big projects mentally, so I did a few small tweaks, and then I started to visit the office occasionally, which gave me more and more energy. I was not working because of guilt, I was working because of joy again. This is when I decided to face the big elephant in the room, the blueprint library, which was discussed quite a long time ago and then was abandoned. It was a huge project, so I was scared to approach such a big project in my previous state, but now I felt brave enough. I started working on it, and I was able to work in full power mode again. The work went forward fast. I had to overcome a lot of annoying obstacles on the way, which had a positive effect on my overall laziness very fast. As a new blueprint library started to shape up, I started to feel something almost forgotten. I was proud of what I was doing. Yay!
Yay!
So this is really interesting. A really, really like heartfelt story, and I love the way it turned around. He was in a really low spot in work and his life in general, it seemed like at that time, and due to his son and Factorio, it managed to turn it around and bring back the passion and joy he experienced while working on the game. And I think this is just awesome.
It's hard to come back from a burnout.
Yes.
And you could see he was kind of not really going to come back.
Mm-hmm.
Except, there was a little spark of something that reignited his passion for it. And not everybody gets that. He was lucky and managed to make a comeback, and that's really, especially the way it was done, it was just really kind of sweet,
Yeah, it really is. And I'm really happy for him. I'm happy he was able to come back and find the passion again. And and obviously we benefit. We get the Blueprint Library, which we'll go into next, which is there's so many awesome changes, guys. But a couple things I really quickly want to touch on here. First off, he does mention this, and it's been mentioned before, and I've mentioned it multiple times. Factorio, I think, is a brilliant, really, really good tool for learning and teaching. And I really think that it has potential to be used like an actual schooling and teaching. Like his kid. He's 4.5 years old. He doesn't really even read. He can't even count to 10, and he was able to play the game, and then kind of without even realizing it, was able to learn like actual knowledge outside the game from it. Um, and then on top of that, what I think is really cool, and this is just how kids are. Kids are like super matter of fact, right? And he like brought to attention the fact that like something in the game doesn't really make sense that like none of us probably would have thought of because like we just don't think that way, and
Yeah.
like kids just say like really obvious stuff that seems obvious later but we just don't see. And I mean that's just really cool. Like I think in some ways it would almost benefit from just like more kids playing Factorio because or in other games because they just see things so like matter of fact, and just like his son was, he's like, well, this doesn't make sense, and Kovarex is like, yeah, you're right, this actually doesn't make sense.
Hmm.
But you didn't
It
actually think of it.
as we've learned all of these processes as we grow up that let us kind of bypass difficult things or like just dismiss things that are an issue, but we see a workaround, and so we just don't even think about it. Like kids don't have all of those mental processes lined up yet. They
Mm-hmm.
just go straight to
Yeah,
literally anything, right? They see
exactly.
you and they're like, "You're ugly," They see
Yeah,
something and they're like, "That's stupid." And that's a good thing to have around sometimes, not all the time, but
yeah. In certain situations, but yeah, you're exactly right. So this is really cool. I love this story. What I love equally as much is this awesome stuff we're getting. So, you excited to move down into this?
yeah, let's go in.
Okay, so
Story of the blueprint.
let's go. Um, so Blueprint and Blueprint Library developed is quite long and convoluted. We mentioned it in 12 Friday Facts already, and it wasn't always quite right. But I believe that we're going to the final stages with the current rework. Small tweaks and improvements can always be done, but the general feeling is like, yeah, this works finally. First mention of it was in Friday Facts 16, 6.5 years ago. Bruh.
Whoa.
Okay, I didn't know that.
It's a little number followed by a big number there.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow is right. Um, did you? I don't want you to just be like bored while I'm reading all this. Did you want to cover any of this?
Yeah, sure. Let me tackle a little bit. Let's take this first section here. So the first blueprint implementation in version 0.9, blueprints were obviously a great upgrade when you compare it to the state of just not having them. But everything was very plain and primitive compared from today's perspective. You actually had to craft the blueprint for one advanced circuit, and the setup window was not the greatest. Well, I didn't know that you had to craft it. That's kind of
Hmm.
I really started around version 17. Like I played a little bit on 16, but 17 was where I was like really playing.
Yeah.
So note that the confirm button was the blueprint button,
Hmm.
the exact example of us doing GUI in the logical way, but not an intuitive way. There was no way to change the blueprint once it was set up, and you could only clear it for the price of one electronic circuit. Okay. So that's some older versions there.
Yeah, for
Coming
sure.
to version 13, the first improvement of the blueprint management. Blueprints started to be important, so we added some very basic way to edit them and a way to include tiles and modules from Friday Facts 131.
Hmm.
Let's see. So in this, we can see. Oh, is that what the modules used to look like?
Yeah.
Kind of cheesy.
Yep.
Got the job done, but kind of cheesy. Okay. Let's see. Also, the blueprint book was introduced. Friday Facts 108 says it cost 15 advanced circuits and could hold only blueprints directly. Okay. Well, so let's see. We went from version 9 to 13, and that's when they got actual blueprint books. Okay.
Hmm.
Let's see. So the blueprint book looked like the screenshot here. See
Hmm.
anything particular interesting or different about it? It seems very minimal. Not
Extremely
bad, just minimal.
minimal. Yeah. Also, I kind of forgot that it actually costs 15 circuits to make, which is like pretty dang expensive.
Oh yeah. 15 advanced circuits. Like by the time I was doing advanced circuits, I already had tons of blueprints because it's so easy to make them now.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Doing all that by hand and then having to make the blueprints with advanced circuits, ugh,
Yeah.
sounds a little painful.
Mm-hmm.
So the first plan of the blueprint library came out in version 15. The fact that you didn't have a way to back up your blueprints and you would just plainly lose them when you died or move to a different game was quite harsh. So they started to work on the blueprint library. Their first mention of it was in Friday Facts 156. Man, we're already talking like so long ago.
I know,
We're
right?
talking from version or Friday Facts what was it, 16 or whatever, and now we're up to 156 on that, but we're still so far away from the present. It's
Uh,
crazy.
yeah, like this is crazy. In fact, that just a note, the Friday Facts we're reading right now is exactly 200 Friday Facts after
Oh,
the first plan of the blueprint library.
still improving. That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the first implementation of the blueprint library in version 15 or point 15 was pretty rough and was shown in Friday Facts 161.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so taking a look at this screenshot, it's kind of all over the place with like little windows popping up there.
Yeah, kind of confusing.
Let's see, we got game blueprints. So game blueprints being saved from other save files,
I
or like your,
I think those
what would you
were
call it?
specific to the game and storage blueprint. I don't remember to be. Like this is just obviously confusing. I don't know. I don't recall what the difference was between game and storage. I think one like persisted through save games and one didn't, but I don't know which one it was.
Okay. So then they do have a note that the play button was the way to export the blueprint into your game as an item, so you can put it in your inventory and use it. The play button. Okay.
Yeah.
Little interesting. So then we come down to their first redesign. We mainly, how do you say that? Zero XYD?
Mm-hmm.
Oxid? Maybe Oxid. We'll go with Oxid. From Friday Facts 170, quickly realized that this needs to be more intuitive. So the way it was exported was streamlined. You just drag and drop into your inventory.
Makes
Another
sense.
way of exporting, yeah, that's kind of how it works now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So another way of exporting was done secretly when you held the blueprint record while closing the library window. It was seemingly useful as you could just grab it from the library and build, but once you were done and pressed Q to clean the cursor, the item was just spilled into your inventory. It was common at these times that your inventory was slowly getting cluttered with random blueprints and you had to do cleanup from time to time. You remember that?
Yep.
I,
Yep.
I so I'm not like great with blueprints. I actually don't even know how to get them to go across saves. Like whenever I start a new game, I don't see my book and I don't know what to do. But I definitely even now still experience like my blueprints kind of disappearing or just getting like filling up my inventory. Like I try and copy paste something and then suddenly I've got an extra blueprint when I didn't really mean to take a blueprint.
Right. Yeah. It's kind. I kind of actually suffers from that too. It's just still a little bit confusing. I think.
Yeah. So let's see the blueprint editing they also improved the window for here.
Yep.
That looks quite a bit nicer.
Yeah. Definitely.
Everything was so bare bones before, but it looks like they've got some filtering of modules and entities and tiles, what
Mm-hmm.
icon you want to use. So let's see. Then in version 16, getting a little closer to present day, the blueprint preview was updated. It was only about connecting the belt, pipe, and wall entities, but it added a lot to the understandability from Friday Facts 211. Yeah, that's kind of nice. You get to see everything connected, like it's actually placed in the real world. Except I do notice the walls are kind of laying on top of the splitters.
Um. Oh. Oh yeah. You're right. That's not great.
So yeah, it looks like it doesn't have like the full rendering of the normal game, but a little bit closer with connecting, walls and entities. Then the endless discussion phase that we've been on since then. We knew there was still a lot of problems with the blueprint library, and we were desperately trying to figure out how to solve them in various different crazy ways, like Friday Facts 249 discusses. But a week later, we all agreed on a relatively simple solution from Friday Facts 250 and 255. From the player perspective, blueprints are always just items, and blueprint library is just something like a persistent chest. Quickbar, movements, stack transfers, everything works exactly like with items, and the blueprint library technical magic is done under the hood. After some time, 32 weeks, they presented a UI mockup for the planned blueprint library in Friday Facts 282. It was the big plan, but since version 0.17 release was approaching, there were just too many other things to do and they postponed it.
Yeah, so that's kind of in our recent memory what we remember happening.
Yeah, you want to take on from here and
Sure.
talk about the current day and what they're working on?
Yeah, so in 0.17 release, more tools. In this version, we added a lot of tools: upgrade planner, copy paste, copy cut paste with history, and undo. And remember this, this was a huge thing introduced in 0.17, and we also extended the amount of things blueprints can handle, mainly trains, which is fantastic. So this is basically what we're used to right now. Is, you know, kind of what things look like in the features and abilities we have. Um, so we made a few small tweaks for 0.17 to make use for blueprints less of a pain. Mainly the ability to make a quick bar reference directly to the blueprint library. Using it, create a new item that is copy of the blueprint library record, so you can build from it and pressing Q to clean the cursor, just to leave the blueprint instead of cluttering the inventory. But blueprint library still didn't get any real improvement. So in 0.18 release, I improved the blueprint library window so it matches our new GUI style. As you can see here, it looks very nice.
Lovely.
But the blueprint library still didn't get any real improvement, just kind of a visual thing. So the new blueprint library. So if this build up led to nothing, it would be pretty lame, as you would expect. The blueprint library is now finally getting a real improvement. The looks,
Yay!
yeah, woohoo! It looks nice now and mainly fits the style of the rest of the game, which it does. It looks great, actually. It looks just really nice, to be honest.
Yeah, this is like, yeah, it's so readable. It's so usable. Just looking at the screenshot alone gives you so much information that you just didn't really have before.
Yeah, this is just fantastic. So moving down, the manipulation. As it was agreed 2 years ago, F, the blueprints in the blueprint library are manipulated as items in every way. Twinson forced me to agree on this way, and I wasn't that convinced at the time. But when I started to implement it, it was instantly clear that this is way better than any other proposal. You don't have to learn anything new and just manipulate objects exactly the same way you're used to, and it just feels right. There's quite something happening in the background when transferring blueprints, as they are still very different types of objects in the inventory in the blueprint library, but the user is now completely shielded from this. The unification. All the related UI was unified to look the same in current versions. For example, opening a blueprint book as an item looks very different compared to opening it in a blueprint library, and it even has different features. And then the identification. Now we get to the new features. First of all, every blueprint tool has edible name, description, icons. For blueprint book, upgrade planner, deconstruction planner, these icons are optional, but override the dynamic icons shown for them. This might be mainly useful, for books that you want to just have the same preview regardless of currently selected blueprints. When the names and descriptions become more important to the user, he can switch to the list view. So, as you can see, very nice here. So like you can have the same pictures here. So single-headed train, double-headed train, they have the same picture, but they're obviously two different books with different stuff in them, which is very nice.
And honestly, like if we look at the screenshot above compared to this one, I really do love the list view compared to the tiled view.
Mm-hmm.
Get your details in there for when you need it, but otherwise you just have the title of your blueprint and the icon.
Yes.
It's awesome. They're giving players the choice to do however they like, you know.
Yeah, which is super great. So love that. Small thing that helps is that the upgrade planner now updates also related icons of the blueprints in books. So I'm trying to see exactly. Okay, so if you upgrade plan the belts, it then upgrades all the entities in the blueprints, is what it looks like, or the icons at least.
I watched this for a little while, probably a good like 5 minutes, trying to figure out what was going on the first time I read through this, and I feel like I'm probably gonna need to get hands on here, because
Yeah.
yeah, I don't like. Is there something specific to the rows here where the top row, middle row, and third row are all like restricted to, oh, here's your blueprints, here's your upgrades, here's your downgrades, and whatever you do will affect the top row? I don't actually know.
Yeah, I don't know either, and I don't know if it's just affecting updating the icons or if it's updating all those entities within the blueprint. Um, Hands-on, I think, would be good here. So,
It
there's
does look pretty cool though, so you can
yes,
transition from your late game, what do you call them? Your late game blueprints that you were using from your last game, and saying, well, I don't have blue belts now, and I want this belt, so downgrade to yellow.
yeah, that's insanely helpful. So, really, really nice feature there. Um, so the books in books, it is something we wanted for a long time. It was highly requested, so now it is possible. Here we go, the recursion. So
Oh boy.
the maximum depth is set to 6, mainly to prevent the UI from getting out of hand. Um, so, okay. So we have like 4 books or 5 books here. Kovarex blueprint storage. Within that, we have single-headed trains. Within that, we have 2-lane, and then within that, we have 4 wagons. Um, and then obviously the blueprints within that book. It looks like so. This is kind of crazy, but I think this is actually fantastic. Because obviously a blueprint books, but you still usually want to separate like um, your different like styles of rails and stuff like that. So you could have a like a blueprint storage, and then you could have like left hand drive, and you could have like right hand drive, and like separate blueprint books within the one blueprint book, and it just like really condenses how many you're having to like keep and stuff, which I think is super nice.
Yeah, that is awesome. You've got your books with your chapters and your sections, and it's so much nicer than just having a book.
Yeah, exactly. So really, really nice. It's just logical that iterating through the book contents works hierarchically. Is that how you pronounce it now? I know the word, but I'm not sure how to.
Hierarchically,
Hierarchically.
hierarch hierarchically.
Yeah, that.
Dang. Okay, so I don't know either. Apparently.
Yeah. So you can see here it's going through just super fast scrolling through blue belt, red belt, yellow belt, blah blah blah. Pretty straightforward, pretty cool, I think. So you're just going from yellow to red to blue, all in the multiple blueprint books. So then we get tools in books and libraries. Since both the upgrade planner and the deconstruction planner are also kind of virtual and configurable, it just makes sense to allow them in books and blueprint library. The preview of the book is changing when you switch between different types of objects. So that's really cool.
That's awesome. I love how it's got the icon and the text right there on your mouse, along with being able to visually see it. That's super cool.
Yeah, this is just fantastic. I love it. Um, so then the copy. Since blueprint manipulation is now always moving the blueprint around, they were making a copy, apart the export import workaround. We really needed this feature to make an explicit copy. The nice touch is that the copy is made based on the current unconfirmed edit of the blueprint, so you can make slightly modified versions of it quite fast, which I think is super awesome. So, because it's kind of tedious now, if you want to like make a small edit and save that while also maintaining the other, it's like a lot of steps and clicking of buttons.
Hmm.
But now you don't have to do that at all. You literally just make the change you want, copy it to get the special one you want, and then you keep the one you were editing and can then save that as is or make more changes and save a different one, etc., etc. Um, it is just so much simpler and so nice.
They have so much quality of life crammed into this. It's just great. One of the things that I want to like thank them for that they've already got in place is the ability to, when you're putting a blueprint down on the ground, to not place entities where something already exists. So
Oh
if
yeah.
you've already got some walls or some turrets, and you're just adding more sections of walls and turrets there, and you don't have a tileable blueprint, you can just ignore you can ignore units that are in place of what your blueprint is trying to put down. You can just stamp down whatever you've got, whatever will fit there.
Mm-hmm.
They've just got so many niceties just packed in for us now.
Yeah. Yeah, that one's been a really great feature we've had for sure. Um, this is just so good so far. So then we have the reassign, my personally most wanted feature. You can change contents of the blueprints while the name, description, icons, quick bar links, and positioning is preserved. So let me take a look here real quick. So if we're select new contents for the blueprint, and it's okay. Oh my gosh, yes, this is so nice. So if you want to just basically remake a blueprint, it looks like if you have like a rail and you notice that like a signal's off and you change the signal and then want to re-blueprint it, you can just do that without having to like create a new blueprint and rename it, etc. That huge pain. Now you can literally just get the change of the thing you want, and it just maintains all the other settings, name, description, everything you had in there, which is just
Nice.
massive quality of life. And then, oh, okay, so this last one you saw the title, but this is my favorite. So many people were hyping about this in the Reddit and forums, and I do not blame them. This is just like so freaking awesome. Building in the map. So, of course, it's our seating. Our
Of
seating,
course.
our seating had a great timing with this feature of building blueprints directly in the game map. Oh my god! So, if you have, I mean, does it need explanation? Like, it's pretty obvious. This is what it does, and it's insane. So, um, it's like right now really hard to place gigantic blueprints
Hmm.
because you can't zoom out far enough. Even if you go on a map view and then zoom into where you can actually see the terrain, you're just not really that zoomed out. So you have to just kind of guess that you're placing it in the right place and stuff, or like if you want to just kind of see like where your rail network's going to end up without like walking across the map and like placing stuff, you can't really. It's really hard. This makes all of that possible. Like you can just zoom out as far as you want on the map and place this ginormous blueprint, and like as you can see in the map view here, it is actually showing like the size of it in the outline and in all like the general basics. So you can actually just see exactly like, oh well, this is going to be hitting on the tip of this lake like 500 tiles away if you have some ungodly size blueprint or something. And it's like, I mean, this is just insane quality of life right here.
I'm just staring at this so happy. I'm just
Same.
like, I'm looking at my screen, just watching it replay, and just thinking that this is the highlight of 2020. I
I
mean,
mean,
it's
it
not hard to
is.
get a highlight in 2020 at this point. Like, we're not asking for much, but they really did something great here. And I mean, it's July, but it's Christmas in July.
I mean, it is. It is. This is like, I mean, this is like Black Friday in July, but that they're just giving it to us. Not even a discount. We're just getting everything. Um, in this, I mean, this, yeah, like you said, this is probably the highlight, honestly, of 2020 for a lot of people, myself included. Like, this is just so, so good. And the fact they managed to sneak this in before 1.0, like, this is the type of thing, along with the assembler, but that, I mean, we already discussed that. And I
Yeah.
already know why that hasn't happened and all that. So that's good. I'm just joking with that. But aside from that, um, it's like this is the type of thing where this is like I wouldn't say make it or break it because things were workable before, but this is the type of thing where it's like having this in and working before 1.0 is just a massive addition and like attraction. Um,
Hmm.
it's just like new players probably won't get this, like won't. I mean, they're new, like they don't know what this stuff is, but um, the fact that this is in and can be advertised and stuff, um, is just it's just huge. I mean, just this is just like more polished to an already polished game.
It's beautiful.
I know.
Teared up here.
This is great, and it's being finished, finalized, and tested, so they should be available in the upcoming weeks, just in time for 1.0. Yeah. So this is just. I mean, this is just so good. Not much else. Every single one of these changes, I have zero complaints. I have only praise. Everything here is something that we either wanted and finally get, or something we didn't even know we wanted and have gotten. And it's just 100%. This is like, I have zero complaints whatsoever about this Friday Facts. It's so good.
Yeah, it was so out of the blue too, because
Yeah.
I was expecting, more graphical improvements, not something this huge.
I mean, yeah, this is huge. This is a huge addition. Um, so this is just, I don't know if, I mean, this entire Friday Facts was written by Kovarex. So I don't know if he literally did all this himself. Aside, well, our seating did the map thing.
Mhm.
It sounds like, but it sounds like our Kovarex did all the rest of this himself. So if that's the case, massive props to Kovarex, and I'm glad this was able to get him back into the process of working on the game. It, reignited working on it inside him, and that we got such a huge benefit from that, because this stuff,
Ah,
whew, I'm so
He
excited.
came in like a wrecking ball, man. He just
He
he
did.
was like, I'm done with WoW, guys. I'm back. I'm ready. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Whew.
So man, this is no bully, guys. When this comes out, I'm doing a video on all these features to show them off. This is, so keep an eye out for that. This is fantastic. I can't explain how hypey this is. I want you guys, I mean, I can't imagine you have any complaints, but leave your thoughts below. Do you have any other thoughts here before we call it?
Uh, Mostly just I'm really proud of Kovarex. Coming back from a burnout is not easy. I work in the tech field and I see burnout all the time, and some guys don't ever come back to tech work.
Mm-hmm.
It's beautiful to see this story where he improves himself so much. This is the this is the Kovarex enrichment process that we've all really wanted in our lives. It's a beautiful thing.
Oh my god, dude. I mean, that's a well-deserved pun in there. It's not even, I mean, it's Kovarex enrichment. It's what we're getting.
Hmm.
It's 100% true.
And it
So
wasn't an easy process. It took him a long time to set up.
yeah,
So
some
good
productivity
job.
modules in there maybe helped. But yeah, I love it. Fantastic. Leave your thoughts, guys. Leave your thoughts on the forums and Reddit. Give the devs some praise. Kovarex, really happy for you, and just so much excitement, man. If they got the assembler done before 1.0, if they managed that, by far, no question, best like couple weeks in 2020. Like, no question. But even if they don't, like, I've already talked to one of the devs about that, and like I understand better why it's not a thing, and you know, it is gonna happen. It just may not be before 1.0, so that's still good.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is awesome. Thank you guys so much, and for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Leave your thoughts below. As always, forums, Reddit, and look out for the video where I cover this stuff, and I'll probably play around with it in streams too. But until next time, we will see you later.
Catch you later.